I've had the pleasure of contributing to smart working in Italy for almost 3 to 4 years at this moment. Professor Mariano Corso, which I call my professional brother, was interested in the topic about 3 years ago, and since then, with the Politecnico, the Osservatorio of Smart Working has been established, which I think is unbelievable in terms of the academic interest. I have not seen this anywhere else in the world. So I met Koen in South by Southwestern Austin, Texas in March, and he shared with me that he was planning to bring services to advise and to coach companies to put smart working into practice in Italy, and namely in the south of Italy, not just in Milano. And I said to him, this is another first. And if you're going to do that, I would like to be with it. Because in our company, we sell products, we sell headsets with a Californian company. We often get asked if what we have done in our company in smart working, if we can do consultancy services. And then we say, I'm sorry, we don't do that. We can explain to you what we have done. We've written a book about it, but hopefully it's going to be organizations that can consult and advise. And here we are. Today we are launching a company that has the courage to write the essence of the beliefs onto a book, which is not a small thing. I've written the book myself, and I'm still married, which is an achievement. So that's fantastic. What I wanted to do today is very simple. I just wanted to let you know how I have developed my enthusiasm over smart working, and most importantly, the magic that has happened in our organization and with many other companies if you get serious about it and apply it. So that's what I'm going to share with you. Yeah? So the book is available in Italian, and Ilaria Sant'Ambrogio, which is our general manager for Italy, will be more than happy to arrange a free copy for you, the Italian version, if you give her a business card, because manifestos should not be paid for, manifestos should be free, right? So that's up to Ilaria. So let me just introduce myself quickly. I have been working for 37 years in the information technology industry. I started in consulting, which is now called Accenture. I work for Wine Laboratories, the inventor of word processing and office automation. I work for Dell Computers, selling notebooks. I was there to launch the first smartphone with Sony Ericsson, and now I've been working with this company for 12 years. We're in the headset business. Yeah? So the most important thing to understand is that I have never used a desktop computer in my life. I had my first mobile computer about 30 years ago in 1985. It was a compact desk pro. It weighed 14 kilograms. You needed to keep it balanced. Yeah? So for me, I have been very privileged to always have had mobile devices and tools that you now all take for granted because you have that, right? But in the process of doing so, I suddenly discovered that I had a new freedom of mobility that I needed to manage. And therefore, my questions have been, for the last 10 to 20 years, if I have that freedom, then when and where do I work best? That has always been the questions that I wanted to answer. And over these decades, I felt that some things were right and other things were wrong. For example, if you ask me what is my best moment to work as a manager, it's on a Sunday morning. Because on a Sunday morning as a manager, I need to be ahead of my team and my customers and anticipate a productive week. But I also am tired at the end of the week and I need to catch up on a number of things. So my most productive moments in my working life are a Sunday morning between 7 o'clock and 9:30. When I catch up on things, I summarize, I thank people, and I prepare for the week. Yeah? And then, of course, I bring my wife a beautiful breakfast on her bed when she wakes up. Yeah? So that's my preferred moment of work is the Sunday morning. Yeah? If we talk about places, my preferred place to work is in Santa Cruz, California. I'm going to fly there on Sunday, and of course I'm on a different time zone, and I typically wake up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm overlooking the Santa Cruz Bay. I open the windows, the sun is coming up, and there's already surfers with O'Neill gear in the dark because they get a kick out of surfing the wave when the sun is just about to come up. At that moment in time, I'm very much awake. I have a couple of emails to be doing. I have to prepare a presentation. And looking at this beautiful nature, I am so energized. It's absolutely fantastic. by the way, in most offices, you don't have that energy coming to you, right? So there's also, these are good moments, yeah, good moments and times, but there's also things that I hate. I have spent so much time in my life in meetings that I really hate meetings which are not disciplined, where people are not prepared. We're going to stop this nonsense. In our company, we have now spent 18 months at the executive level on a topic called smarter meetings. And we are trying to reduce the conferencing time from 3 hours to 1 hour every time we can. And we give time back to people. There's a big, big disease. It's called meetingitis, not meningitis, but meetingitis. Yeah? I also have spent far too much time in my life in traffic jams to try to get to the office at 8:30 in the morning. Yeah? That is a royal waste of time where you are polluting the planet, where you're stressing yourself and the people involved. It's not a healthy thing. And in fact, today, as we speak, a lot of people rush to the office to be there at 9 o'clock and they start to do email with big headphones on. They could have done this at home too, right? So let's try and move and meet people when it's most effective to do it. So these are all experiences, empirical situations. For the first time, I started to get a more scientific explanation about this in 2007. I was invited by a company called Vitra. They are from Basel, and they make very fancy, I would say, interior design. I mean, it's almost like the B&B Italia for offices, if you want. And they said, Philip, would you like to participate in a study? We would like to interview you for an hour and a half, where you say, this is my job, and then I do these types of activities in these places. And out of that came a beautiful study which was called the topology of work, or the geography of work, whereby they analyzed various types of activities. In the book you can read the detail, but I'm going to give you some examples. The first thing that they explained was creativity, or the birth of an idea. And the study said that creativity is about the brain producing net new value, and you do that with certain catalysts. And with human beings, you're creative either because you have a beautiful view, yeah, or you listen to certain sounds, it could be music, or you are kinetic, you are moving. You're in the gym, you're on a cycle, you make a walk with the dog, that's when it happens. Yeah? I'm going to give you an illustration. This is a little quiz for Italians. This is a place in Italy. Where is it? No? No? It's in the north, come on. Mountains, it rains at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. The small lakes. No, small lake, that's a big one. Lago d'Orta. D'Orta, with Isola di Silenze. Yeah, one of the most silent places in Europe, right? I was sitting there with my wife 4 years ago, having a vacation. And I say to my wife, look at this view, we should be buying a villa here. And she says to me, it's not funny. I said, why? She says, you are not here. I've been looking at you. You are not with me on vacation. You are working. And I never argue with my wife anymore, so I say, you're right. I am so inspired by the view here that I have my brain suddenly cooking up something that I can't stop it. She says, okay, here's a piece of paper. You are getting very old these days, so you're going to lose your ideas. Write it down. Give me your mobile phone. I will call your boss in California to tell him that he's going to pay for the vacation because you were working here. So the point that we are making is that most of us are doing brain work. It is not that the brain is functioning from 9 to 5. The brain is working all the time, right? So creativity is not possible in most offices. Most offices are boring, uninspiring, no good views, no allowances to move around, definitely not listening to music. So what we're saying is that most companies in the world, and potentially in Italy, are not designed to be creative. Yeah? One example. The second example is because before we start thinking, so for me, I'm more creative outside the office than inside the office. Yeah? The second topic is, of course, a lot of people start to dream that the old office is dead and now we're going to be all working from home. Yeah? I would like to give an antidote to that. There is very, very good reasons for people to come together.
the best way to learn from each other is to be face to face. And no matter how good the technology is, Skype for Business, Google Hangouts, there is nothing that is as good as people being face to face. That's why you have the better experience of my presentation here versus the people which are sitting at home and not coming over here. So, let me illustrate that. My son, 31 years old, was looking for a job a couple of years ago in London. And when he comes back home, I say, Jan, Giovanni, how was the interview? Would you like to work there? And he says, Dad, the offices are absolutely beautiful, lounge area, snooker table. I really would like to work there. I said, Jan, what is the job? Is it in marketing? Is it in consulting? Is it in tech support? He says, Dad, you don't get it. I'm a young person. I have to learn stuff. If I go to an office which is not inspiring for me, I'm not going to learn anything. I'm not interested as a young person to work from home. I'm not going to learn anything from home. Please, for me, it's a priority to go to a place like we have it here, where I can learn from others. Yeah? So that's what we call immersion spaces. So the study was for me very inspiring. I said, wow, there is some science behind the fact that we need to understand activities and activity-based working. So I wanted to learn more from other companies, so I asked a researcher from Vitra to do a study for our company to understand where the status of agility and flexible working in Europe was. So we interviewed 16 companies which were much more advanced than Plantronics to understand what is flexible working. So the study said, yes, it's the technology which is the enabler. You can work in many places. Yes, it's about new spaces, but it only works if the management style is very different, because it's about an environment where trust is very important. Yeah, I'm going to skip that one. Sorry. So this was the study on topology of work and the catalyst for change. Yeah, and basically the study said it requires a new management philosophy whereby the managers treat people like adults, whereby you feel that they have a strong desire to contribute and you need to trust them 100% a priori, right? When I recruit people, if I would be recruiting you, we would be having exciting discussions. We would shake hands, sign on the dotted line, and we believe we're going to change the world. Of course, afterwards you need to prove with your behaviors that you deserve that. But trust is the rocket fuel of smarter working. So for all those managers that you may have, which think that this is flower power, one way or another, we have to convince them that this works. And the only way to do it is by giving examples that it has worked. That's why I like telling the story that we have done. So we then had bad times. This is now 2009, where the economic crisis hits us badly. My revenue in the company drops by 25%. I have to fire 15% of the people. I have 3 buildings in an office location in the UK, and I cannot afford them anymore. I have to bring them down to 1 building. And think about a building that is right for smarter working. I had never done this before, and around that time I met a gentleman from Vitra. You remember the Vitra guy? Yeah? He was marketing director for Vitra in the UK, and he said, Philip, I'm starting a new company which is going to listen to the employees, to what they are doing, and if they are happy with the office and the technology and the management style. So this lease man is now 5 years. On the 9th of July, I'm going to celebrate with them. And this is a web-based employee workspace satisfaction survey, where in my company, 83% of the people were asked to fill a questionnaire about the type of activities that they do and the level of satisfaction with the support that they get. So this is like an X-ray. It's an X-ray of your company. The reports that come out of that look like this. Yeah, by the way, the score that we had on 100 was only 65. I had 1 out of 3 of my employees saying I would never bring my friends, my family, or my customers to the office because it's a bit out of date. Yeah. I had in Germany 1 out of 2 people that said the acoustics suck. I cannot concentrate on my job because this person is talking to a customer on the phone and I need to concentrate on my spreadsheet in accounting. I cannot work. So we learned that acoustics was very bad for us. around that time, so this is an overview of the reports, right? So we have this for all of our offices. This is the type of things that people are doing. Individual tasks, making phone calls, private meetings, conference calls, and so forth. The length of the bar is the number of people that do this, and the color indicates whether you are in good shape or not. So this, we had a problem that we didn't have enough small meeting groups, that people could not have a focused or a confidential kind of discussion. Yep. So around that time, I was very inspired by Professor Jeremy Meyerson. He's the Dean of the Royal Academy of Arts Interior Design in London. And he wrote this book about the upcoming aging workforce. So let's do a little quiz here. From which age are you part of the aging workforce? From which age are you part of the aging workforce? No, it's lower. Lower than 55. European Commission definition.
Before 2009, 45, 48.
No. It's the number of years of your age.
48.
It's 45. From the age of 45, your hearing and your eyesight is diminished to the extent that your productivity goes down. Yeah? Yeah, he knows it. I know it too. So let's put this in perspective. How many years do we have to work in our lives? We start to work around which age? 20 in our countries. Yeah. Here it's 25. Or how long do we have to work to get a pension?
67.
Yeah, that's the beginning. No, they don't want to say it to us. We all have to work until 70. So every 2 years they add 1 year to it. So we're all going to be working 50 years, and halfway at 45 we are handicapped. So guess what the older people are saying is, we are now all in landscape offices, and therefore people say, I cannot concentrate. Because this person is talking very loudly on the mobile phone, or this person is talking about his vacation, and I cannot concentrate on my job. So acoustics is the #1 problem. And this professor was very actionable in his recommendations. He said a good office should be split out in 4 acoustic zones. The #1 thing that is now required is spaces where people can concentrate, because there's so much noise in the offices. The other thing is that more and more people are actually now remotely working with somebody else in a call center or in virtual collaboration. And when you work with somebody remotely, you will be louder. Because if I'm talking to you guys, then the body talks. But if the body is not there to be presented, people compensate by talking louder. Yeah? So that means that those people that have to talk loud for their jobs need to be well isolated from the rest. Then the book also said you need special places to collaborate, not the old style closed conference rooms, with lounges and things like that. And last but not least, you need to have spaces for people where they are allowed not to work. So therefore you need to make sure that people can stop working for a power sleeping, a power nap, or for relaxation so that they can energize for the next day. In my company, I said to the people, do not reinvent the wheel, listen to the professor and literally apply stuff. So we actually implemented now in 8 offices in Europe. Every office has 4 types of acoustic zones. When you go to the office, there's a little map, and you know that if you're going to do loud talking, you go to a red zone. Yeah? That's how it works. So, the other thing that I'm not going to talk about, and you guys know probably more, is that you need to have the right technology to do this. Yeah? So, of course, it's a mobile device, and you need, on top of that, a piece of software which is called Unified Communications. There is a lot of choice in the marketplace to do that. In large companies, people might be using Skype for Business, which is the former Link or OCS. Other people are using Cisco stuff, and then of course Google has Hangouts and so forth. The good news is that technology is mature and more than adequate to collaborate virtually. The big challenge that I have seen in my company is that the networks which are available from Vodafone or Wind are okay to manage your network inside your company, but if you're working from home or you work in a hotel or on the street, there is no guarantee for the quality of service. So before you let people to work everywhere, you have to make sure that they are equipped with the right network. Otherwise, smarter working is a pipe dream. And in my company, every day we are struggling. If we allow people to work from home, they have to have 3 types of access. They need to have broadband for wideband high fidelity voice. But if there is contention with the neighbors, we still ask them to have the analog line as a fallback. And we also know that they need to have a mobile phone. So everybody working outside the office needs 3 access paths before they can work reliably. Yeah? So you need a good network and architecture. So we talked about the importance of the bricks or the space. We talked about the technology. The last element is also very important. It's sometimes I get the question, who should be in charge of this in the company? And I always say, the person in charge of human resources. Smarter working is about smarter working of people, not computers or robots, right? Who is responsible for that in the company is human resources. Unfortunately, in human resources, the tradition is that people focus on hiring and firing and talent development and things like that. But very few HR people are asked to understand where the world of work is going and to help change it, and also the management in the whole area. So I must say I've been positively surprised that in Italy there is something bubbling up, whereby I see human resources with a vivid interest to change these things. It's a long journey to be had. Yeah? So important is in companies that the practices of IT and space and people management work in harmony. The larger the company is, the more you have a silo. You have the silo of HR. You have the silo of computers department, and then also the space people. They need to tightly work together. We'll hear more about that in a minute. Yeah. So we have a definition in our company that smarter working is a management philosophy, whereby as managers you are giving freedom to your people to choose the time and space to work, and the only thing we're interested in that you produce results, that you save money for the company, and that you respect the planet. We have never had to change this. We apply this in our contact centers. Half of the people of our contact centers don't need to do the job from home. Sorry, from the office. They can choose where they want to work. Yeah. So, what we have learned, and this is the area of focus of my business, is that suddenly you discover that acoustics are more important than ever before. You may have seen a little pattern here. The first thing that we're saying is, if you are working remotely, and in our company we advocate a balance. Anytime you can be together in the right environment, do it. But you will not be able to be together all the time, so you will be able to master face-to-face collaboration and virtual collaboration. If you're going to start to work virtually, like not together, it's hard. I've been doing this for decades, and I can tell you, working a whole week from home over a conference call is not fun. Yeah? Why? Because the people which are calling into the conference call, you cannot hear them, or they are interrupted by mobile calls, they join the meetings late, it's not fun. I am the only person of a Californian management team which is not in California. When I call them in at 5 o'clock, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. They're very bubbly, very energized, they make jokes. I'm already tired, I've been working 10 hours by that time, yeah? And I cannot hear them because they are shuffling papers on the table and they don't understand that all the sound gets transmitted on the microphone. So that means that people need to have the right instruments to make sure that they are heard on the other side. The networks have to be of the right kind. You need high definition voice. Anybody familiar with, you all know that the telephone was invented in which country?
Italy.
Ah! Italy, exactly. Telephone was invented here. It's Alexander Graham Bell that was the first to have the trademark and the copyright, right? So you guys invented the phones. For 160 years, the phones that we have enjoyed are not sufficient for the human voice. Human voice needs 7,000 hertz, and the original networks only do 3,500. That's when you listen to a phone, you always have to ask things again. But there's now high definition voice available if you use unified communication from Microsoft, or from Cisco, or from Google. You can have that high definition voice in there. So you need to make sure that you have that on a good network. The last thing that we are doing in our company, we have learned people how to speak again. How many of you have had a course in good voice skills? How many of you? Come on, raise hands. Nobody. You're the guys that sing and they're in the opera. No. So we have created a speech impact course with the help of a former BBC radio producer. And the first rule is, if you talk over the phone to people, you stand up. Because if you stand up, you have more air in your airbag, you can talk louder and longer and you're more energetic. So our people stand up much more. Sitting is the new cancer. You guys know it, but how many people, it's actually fantastic that we've all been standing, yeah? So the next thing that we learn to people is you're gonna speak loud enough. If you think that you're too loud, it's just right. You gotta understand the speed of talking. I am always talking a little too fast because people pay more attention. And then you go to vary your tones. And if you're online working, you have to shut up every 2.5 minutes to see if the other people are still there and have a question to ask, right? So that's what's learned in this course. So let's finish here. I've said enough already. We put all this together in this new office in the UK, and we opened it, and very shortly thereafter, we did the second survey. You remember the leaseman survey that we did? We did a pre-occupation survey, and then we did a post-occupation survey. And we shot up from 65 to 84. It was still not perfect, right? At that moment in time, people said, wow, this is very interesting. You should apply for an award. So we won an award in England, the British Institute of Facilities Management Award for the year. Because and people ask us, what did you do? The answer is we listened to our people. We just asked them to say what was right and wrong, and then we said, these are going to be the changes we do. So a lot of times the questions get asked, is this expensive? And we'll talk about this later on. And the answer is, you're going to get your money back. In our company, the absenteeism went down from about 8%, the average in Europe is about 10%, went down by 60%. That's about 5% of your labor costs. That's very high. Let me tell you how it works. In the old days, if you are ill, you call your boss and you say, I have something in my throat. It could be a cold, maybe it's the flu. Should I come to the office? No, don't come to the office. 8 hours, which is written off, has to be paid by Social Security. Now, when Ilaria calls me and says, Philip, I have something in my throat, I said, Ilaria, do the fingers still work? The brain's still switched on. Today, don't talk. Just do a bit of email. Not 14 hours a day, but maybe just 6. And then we are saving the money because the absenteeism goes down. People can work remotely, being a bit ill, and they still are productive. Yeah? So, absolutely possible. Big bucks, 5% of the labor cost. Here, if not everybody has to come to the office, you need less space. Space is expensive. In Milano and over here. I mean, I was just talking on the plane to somebody from Deloitte. Anybody from Deloitte here? No? Deloitte. And I said to them, when I pay my tax invoice, I hate paying the tax invoice because half of the cost of the consultant is the bloody office that you have there. I don't want to pay for that office, I want to pay for the consultant. And he should be working from home. Strike the price in half, right? So that's what you can do. 30%, big bucks. After that, it's all dependent on your business. In our company, the productivity has gone up because people feel so happy that they have this new freedom that they want to be thankful and they work too much. I have now in our organization a problem of 21st century workaholism. When I look later tonight in my bed at 12 o'clock, I still have people on green in Skype. And I say to them, what are you doing? You should be in bed. Oh, Philip, I didn't work this afternoon after 4 o'clock. I was with my child. I had a good meal with the family. And then at 8 o'clock, no watching television, notebook goes open. Oh, I've already been working for 3 hours. Can I help you with something? So people now need to be protected, not to work too much, right? So it's very easy. So that's all I wanted to say. As you can tell, I am very enthusiastic. If people ask me, why are you so excited about it? My motivation is that on a Monday morning, I'm counting the number of smiles on the people as they go to work, and there is not a lot of smiles, right? So something is really fucked up on this planet if most of the people don't really enjoy working. When are we going to have thank God it's Monday rather than thank God it's Friday, right? So we have the duty as managers to take to ourselves other ways in which we can do this, and the fact that we have these gentlemen which have the courage and the impatience to do these things is something that we're going to celebrate today, right? Thank you very much, guys.